all the problems we've discussed around measurement. Another way you can do it is to incent more leverage. And Andy Haldane at the Bank of England has suggested that we should look to the tax code. I think when you step back for a minute, you realize that generally speaking in the economy, it's a strange thing that we have double taxation of equity income and, relatively speaking, tax relief for debt. So that there's a built into the tax code as an incentive to use leverage. In the financial system, that's particularly pernicious. And indeed, you could imagine equilibrating the tax treatment and seeing, I imagine, a change in the division between equity and debt resulting. I think investors would be much more, and banks would be much more inclined to use equity if it was cheaper, and investors would expect to see that. But you could even, Haldane suggests, tip it the other way. Or you could apply a variable amount of tip if you're wanting to change how much capital banks have in aggregate without putting a floor under it for any particular bank. In other words, as a way of encouraging increases in the total amount of capital in the system, why not tip the tax regime between debt and equity so that equity becomes more popular whether you're a lightly capitalized institution or a heavily capitalized institution. Just watch what happens to the total and tip accordingly.